So a couple weeks ago, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I shot a video and I asked you guys where you guys are at, if you had questions. It was an overwhelming response. I'll be honest with you, I did it just to get more questions from you guys, see who's out there, who I'm talking to, so I could provide, make more videos for you guys. But what I figured I'd do is I usually foam roll out for about 30 minutes. So what I want to do is for the next couple days, I'm just going to go ahead and start answering these down the line. Look, if you know me, I'm not trying to give you some long, elaborate, strung out answer. And I know that's what some of you guys want. And I know some of you guys want detail oriented, which some of the questions were. However, I'm going to give you a piece of information that if you use it, I feel like from my experience is going to support you right where you're at that particular moment. Okay, so some of these you guys might feel like, oh, this kind of led me off the deep end. Well, you need to go do some research for your own particular self, and I hope that I can point you in the right direction. I am not trying to take these words as gospel, like I said, but I just want to be able to make sure that I support you. All right, I'm just gonna go down the line, man. Soccer. I'm pretty fast, but when it comes to changing speed, acceleration, I suck. I start very slow, then I get faster. How can I start running fast in the first 2 to 3 seconds? So what you're saying is your first step explosiveness. I've made a lot of videos about this. I think when it comes to your first couple steps, you obviously need to do jump training. I mean, you need to become more explosive. That to me is what I saw was best for acceleration, because it not only helps with linear acceleration, it helps with lateral acceleration. If your hips have that twitch to them, that's essentially what you want to train. So a lot of jump training. If you guys look at something like my flight system or anything of that nature, I think will support you. Moving on, increasing explosiveness such as vert and acceleration. Wow, that's a general question, but same thing, man. You have to jump. You have to do jump training. I've made a million videos about these, but jump in the beginning. I was actually just talking to Dr. Squat yesterday, and he showed me something really fascinating. They did some research. I've come from more of a standpoint of do some jump training and then do some jump training and then do your strength lifts, which is pretty simple. But what he showed me is complex training is going to be the most resourceful most resourceful mesocycle for most athletes. So there's good, better, and best. And what he showed in elite athletes is best is complex training. That's where you'll do essentially a set of like squats and then perform some kind of jump training. So any of you that want to do explosiveness or acceleration, make sure that you're adding or you devote a block of complex training to your training. And I'll actually after talking with him, I'm going to make a product about this, because I feel like a lot of people don't know how to, and it's very important on the parameters. Like a lot of guys just say, oh, you squat and then you start jumping. Well, there's actually parameters to it to get the most out of it and to do it properly. So I'm actually going to make something for you guys about that. Football, acceleration and linear speed. Baseball, hitting my spots as a pitcher. Football, I just answered that, so I'm going to move on to the baseball question. And it says, hitting my spots as a pitcher. Wow, that's a good question. So obviously what you're talking about is accuracy. To be honest with you, when it comes to accuracy, I think that's a skill. As you guys have always said, that I've always kind of made that up. There's stuff that you're born with, like you can grind out and stuff like that, and there's also skill. Skill are things that you need to practice all the time. Now, as a pitcher, you obviously need to make sure that you're not, you control the amount of times that you throw, but however, I do think that if you do it at a slower pace and you work on your mechanics properly, make sure you get your mechanics down, and then you throw not as hard so you're preserving your shoulder, I think you can start to improve your accuracy. But I think it's amount of balls that you throw over time. So you just need to make sure that you do that. Boxing, since it's a year-round sport, mostly I have struggled balancing weight training, so I don't burn myself out for the boxing gym. So I ask you, is there a way where I can become stronger and explosive while still performing sparring boxing gym? Yes, absolutely. Great question. And I talk about this with all my guys. So The biggest thing that you need to do here is you need to separate the two. What most fighters do, their problem is that they don't separate them. So what I mean is they try to do their strength and explosive stuff along with the sparring and the boxing and all the technique drills. You need to do two-a-days, and you need to manage them properly. So I would start with a 3-day program where on 3 days you do some kind of explosive work, whether it be upper body, lower body, and some kind of jump training, and then move into your strength, and keep it very low volume. Okay, so if you guys have ever seen one of my in-season programs like in-season flight or in-season football, it's very similar to that. Compound movements, very low volume. You don't need a lot of bodybuilding exercises or anything like that. Not a lot of auxiliaries. Think 1 to 2 explosive movements or speed movements, 1 to 2 strength movements, very low volume, like 3 sets of 3, but make sure, work up to that. Make sure you go heavy, and then that's it. Cut it off so you save yourself, and then apply the same technique in the amount of time that you do in your boxing training. So yeah, so year round you should be doing that, basically. Moving on, rugby, increasing acceleration, but having patience, similar to NFL running back who wait and see the hole and shoot through. I want to get my top speed quickly. What you're talking about is essentially the exact same thing. Like for running backs, having that patience is a skill. You guys got to understand that. That's what separates a decent running back, or let's say you take 2 running backs, right? And you have running back A who's more explosive but doesn't have as good as field vision as running back B, who has great field vision but not as explosive. I'll usually take that guy from B any day because he's developed that skill. And that just comes over time and you practicing various drills to be able to see those holes opening, having that patience. That's a skill. As far as increasing your athleticism as you're learning that skill, you can 100% do that. Practice the same acceleration drills. So even you can mask some of your vision by having great acceleration. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to know, you have to have field vision. And some guys have it and some guys don't, but that's what separates the elites in the NFL from guys who will never make it, so that kind of, I don't know how else to answer that. Boxing, need to improve my efficient foot speed, how fast I can get around without losing my balance. Damn, some of these I need to think about. Improving my foot speed, right, without losing my balance. I would set up some kind of scenario where you mimic exactly what you're talking about. And in the same way that I talk about improving certain skills in your guys' sport, focusing on your weakness. So what this sounds like is it's one of your weaknesses. So I've gone to boxing. I actually went to boxing about a month ago. I was going pretty recently, twice a week. And what I noticed is you could create drills, or your boxing coach can create drills where you're working specifically on your footwork, and then not only that, they can throw you jabs or throw you, whatever it is. If you're an MMA fighter, whatever it is, they can utilize different tools to throw you off while you're improving your footwork. This goes back to, again, I sound like a broken record, but this is a skill. You need to break down that skill to its bare minimum. So if it's first working on your footwork, and then moving over to using that same footwork and then utilizing something where you're dodging a punch or something like that, and then basically increasing the difficulty throughout that drill. And it's just repetitive nature. You have to think 1,000 reps of single thing you do. So if it's hey, I'm improving my footwork with basically sidestepping to the left, do that 1,000 times until that feels like it's clockwork, right? And then from there you throw in, I'm moving to the left with a jab thrown at me, right? And now I'm doing 1,000 reps of that. So you just got to continue to increase the difficulty as you basically master each step along the way. I wish there was like a better way to be able to explain that, or not explain that, give that to you where you guys can learn it faster. But at the end of the day, skills come by repetitions. You need to do repetitions when it comes to getting better at a skill, especially your weaknesses. I don't care if you suck in the beginning. There's one huge thing I noticed, and it's within myself too. if I suck at something, it's hard for me to want to do it more and more. For an elite athletic mindset is, hey, this is my weakness. I suck at this. I usually avoid this, but now I'm going to tackle it. And I suck now, but if I continue to do this, it's going to continue to get easier. I take it like this. I probably suck at skateboarding. I mean, I can ride a skateboard, right? But it's not something I did as a kid. I played sports. Well, I shouldn't say that because some of y'all think that skateboarding is a sport. But anyway, but I know that if I go get on that skateboard and I just start riding it around, and I know that if I put time into it, I'm going to become a good skateboarder. I suck at it, and I'm not gonna wanna do it at first because of how bad I suck. But if I say, okay, I'm just going to practice riding back and forth on the driveway and master this turn, and then before you know it, I'm adding in an ollie, and then before you know it, I'm adding in a kickflip, then that's how you get better at a skill. But I think the elites realize that if I'm not good at something, over time I can get better at it by doing it over and over again. So when you suck at something in the beginning, don't let it inhibit you from not performing it more and more. Football, D-line, first step off the ball, jump training and reaction. Jump training and reaction, jump training and reaction. Jump training is what you need to actually grind out and train and actually do the repetitions. That's basically, gonna help your acceleration. Reaction's a skill. I just went off of this. Have your guys basically, and it's visual. So if you're on the D-line, meaning you're looking for the ball. So you need to practice repetitions. As you increase your explosiveness, your twitch off that line, you need to also increase, you basically practice the repetitions of you coming off the line. So I would play multiple positions or whatever position you are. Let's say you're on one side particular. I don't know what level you're at. If you're in college, you're gonna obviously switch sides. Maybe good high schools, you're gonna switch sides. Most high schools, you're gonna switch sides, unless you're like a nose tackle or something like that. But practice lining up different areas of the ball. Practice getting up off that ball. Reaction is a skill. The more I practice it with my guys, the more that they're able to do it. Then you can also supplement other reaction drills within it, and you can get better at that skill. So I would focus on two things, like I said, jump training and reaction training, but actual sport-specific reaction training. Get down on the line, have somebody move the ball. As soon as that ball moves, pop off that line. Even if it's 100 repetitions today, I'm getting off that line, I guarantee you 100% you're gonna be faster that next season. You do that for a month, and I guarantee you're gonna be better getting off that line. You can't be afraid to not put in, you can't be afraid to not put in the work, man. You have to put in the work. Baseball. I would really like to know the best sport-specific exercises I could do at the gym to maximize my performance on the baseball field. Okay, sport-specific for baseball. 1, you need to balance your body out. So structurally, you need to balance your body out, meaning you have to make sure that your rotators are healthy and balanced, because everything you do is internal rotation. So work a lot of external rotation. 2, you need to, a lot of my baseball players are tight in the pec minor. They're tight in their lats, they're tight in their biceps, you're tight in their necks. Everything they do is forward. You're batting forward, you're throwing forward. You need to make sure that you balance yourself out. Balance out that thoracic region, balance out the straight lengthen the pec minor, loosen those muscles out that are generally tight with baseball players. You can look this up online. 2, you need to continue to balance yourself out by rotating the opposite way. Think of yourself as a washcloth. If I'm a righty, I'm throwing righty, I'm batting righty, everything I'm doing with my torso is this way. You need to do the opposite. So whether that be like a reverse wood chop, coming from the ground up, going to the right. 3, then after you do a structural phase, then you want to increase the amount of, I do ballistic movements for rotation, and you're gonna balance out both sides. Ballistic just means that you're releasing the weight. So we're focusing purely on the concentric part. So if I'm here and driving it concentrically as fast as I possibly can, I'm releasing the weight. So I do a lot of med ball tosses. And number 3, the biggest misconception about baseball players is that you shouldn't train like another power athlete. I work with some baseball players here, and I'm still astonished by what they do for like off-season conditioning. They do like off-season conditioning, and they'll run for like 2 hours. When is a baseball player ever going to be out of breath on a baseball field unless they hit a triple or an infield home run? They're not going to. Baseball is a all-out maximum movement, maximum effort movement, where you need to be explosive as possible or get to the ball as fast as possible, be able to move. It's a skill sport. You need to train like a power athlete. You need to be extremely explosive. You need to have great quickness, and that can all be trained if you train just like any other power athlete. I train my guys like football players, and I don't want to mention some other guys that they've worked with, but they've seen the improvement when I don't baby them. I treat them just like that I would like a football player. Now, obviously, I choose different movements, but I'm still making them squat heavy. Yes, I make them bench heavy. I know there's some, they say it's not. I bring their hands in so it's a little bit more close grip, but I keep them as explosive as possible, and the shit translates straight over to the field. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. If you're interested in becoming a better athlete, go ahead and click this box right over here. Today, we'll get you signed up for a free athletic course that's gonna teach you how to become a better athlete, whether it be speed, explosiveness, strength, or just pure aesthetics. Go ahead and click that. I'm gonna send it to you and get you started immediately.